Yeah.
I'm your host, Shinu Pillai from GL Exhibitions, organizers of the Tea and Coffee Expo, co-located with the 23rd edition of Middle East Organic and Natural Product Expo in Dubai, taking place from 17 to 19 this November at the Dubai World Trade Center. Organic Majlis is the Middle East online community of exporters and importers of all things bio, natural, and organic. And it is part of the 365-day export promotion that we offer instead of just a 3-day expo. The MENA tea and coffee market is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of 7.5% between 2022 and 2027, while that of the UAE alone would increase by 8.3% for the same period. Furthermore, with the growing culture of cafes and tea outlets in countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, the product ranges has expanded to cater to a wide variety of tastes and preferences. Needless to say, the huge re-export hub that Dubai has become, especially for this sector. In today's session, we will have the privilege of hearing from some of the leaders in the sector who will shed light on the growing demand, policy landscape, emerging trends, and the application of strategies to develop your exports into the GCC. Without further ado, allow me to introduce our esteemed panelists. First up, we have Carolina Gutierrez, Head of Coffee at Bevarabia. Carolina, did I pronounce your last name right?
That's correct, yes.
Thank you. With over 12 years of global experience in specialty coffee, Carolina is a dynamic leader recognized for her deep industry expertise, entrepreneurial drive, and strategic business acumen. As co-founder of Tres Marias Coffee Company and Gold Box Roastery, Carolina built brands from the ground up, designing roast profiles, developing digital channels, and forging key partnerships that fuel growth and customer engagement. Her unique blend of hands-on production knowledge and sharp business strategies have made her a trusted figure in the MENA coffee scene. Carolina, once again, welcome.
Thank you. Hey, everyone.
So second, we have Adhya, General Manager for Americana Restaurants. Deba Adhya has over 25 years of leadership experience in startups and large corporates in consulting, retail, and HoReCa businesses. He is currently a member of the executive leadership team at Americana Restaurants International, heading Saudi Arabia business. His earlier roles include General Manager, Procurement and Supply Chain, General Manager, Home Delivery, General Manager, Finance, and Area Director for UAE, Oman, and Qatar. Wow. After his engineering and MBA from India, Deba joined the Tata Group in management consulting business at Tata Strategic Management, where he led retail and consumer goods and energy and chemicals and media practices. Once again, Deba, thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Shinu, for the intro. And I'm very privileged and glad to have Carolina as a co-panelist with her deep knowledge of the sector. I'm sure I would also enjoy the session as all the participants. Thank you.
Brilliant. I'm just figuring out my volume. I think you can still hear me. Yeah, okay, good. So we have got a lot of coffee and tea suppliers from around the world who has joined us. And what we have done is we have collated some of their burning questions and put them into certain points so that, we have summarized them so that we can have a healthy discussion, which potentially should be helping them out, right? So let's delve straight into it. Quite naturally, always the first question or the range of questions comes is about the growing demand. So I think if you could shed a little more light in terms of what specific trends have you observed in the Middle East that indicate a growing demand for specialty coffee and tea, and how are these trends different from, if at all they are, from the global trends? So Carolina, if we could start with you.
Of course. I think my experience now is around 12 plus years. So I had the privilege of starting off when the market was still very fresh. I can see that starting around 2000, 2013, there were a few players in the game, mainly focusing on commercial coffees. And there were other players that they saw that there was a space, there was a lack. So they also started focusing a bit more on traceability, offering a bit more premium coffee. So I think that's kind of like what kickstarted as well, this trend of specialty coffee. I think the real boom happened around 2014. I was having the privilege as well. I had my own roastery back in 2015. So for me, it was pretty exciting to see how the market was very interested in knowing more information about specialty coffee. And there's a lot of people still that don't understand the term, what is specialty coffee? For someone that, as myself, who has dedicated a lot of time in education, I've done a lot of studies with the Specialty Coffee Association. We have 5 different modules within the category. We have barista certification, which comes with 3 levels. It comes with beginner, intermediate, and professional. I enjoyed doing all 3. And also for brewing is the other category, is anything that's water and coffee. It's filtered method. This is also has the 3 same levels, and then they can also learn about sensory skills. This ability also helps someone who doesn't understand when they want to explain the taste of the coffee. They can start developing their palates to see the flavors within coffee, the smells, the aromas, because sometimes when we're describing chocolate, nuts, floral, we feel a bit lost for someone who hasn't developed yet the palate. It's something that maybe requires a bit of experience. The other one is green beans, which is the raw material. This is also very key because it's basically where the coffee comes from the plant, the farmer. It takes 3 to 5 years to grow coffee, and from there it goes through the process of different processing, either natural, washed, honey, and there's new methods of processing as well. So green coffee definitely is its own study. It's on its own and very interesting as well. This affects the quality of the coffee. And the last one is roasting. Roasting as well is fundamental because after the farmer gives the roastery the green coffee, they have to develop a very good profile for us people to enjoy the coffee itself. So depending if they do have the understanding, if they do have the software and a few tools that will help roast the coffee in the best way, like moisture, color analyzer for quality controls. This will help as well give the quality will be much better. So I feel like by educating, the UAE has definitely has felt curious because in the Middle East, coffee is a big deal. I think there's a lot of culture with Arabic coffee being lightly roasted, Turkish coffee or Greek coffee being a little bit slightly darker roasts. And I think now with commercial premium coffees, they're a bit medium to dark roast. And now with specialty coffee, the main difference is that we're not roasting any of these coffees, nor light, nor dark, but mainly specialty coffee. We want to make sure that it's between light to medium roast to make sure that the attributes of the coffee are there and we can enjoy the coffee mainly as its raw products. You can enjoy the natural flavors coming from the farm, coming from the processing, and it's very enjoyable, by the way. Specialty coffee, when we talk about the term specialty coffee, is mainly when we're referring to the quality. First, we analyze the green coffee itself. We weigh out 350 grams of coffee, and it goes through a selection process of determining if it has defects or not. After we determine if the coffee has defects, either it could be categorized by primary defects, which could affect the taste of the coffee. If any of those defects are found, it's categorized as not specialty, but already commercial. If the coffee doesn't have any primary defects, we also scan for secondary defects, which could be a bit minor, but we still need to find quite a few to say, it still has maybe secondary, not primary, but still secondary for also to affect. If we don't find primary nor secondary, we can determine it is specialty coffee. But the last thing that we need to do is roast the coffee and do an evaluation of cupping. When we do cupping, we mainly want to roast the coffee from green to brown. And then we're going to conduct a cupping session by grinding the coffee, boiling hot water into a certain temperature and pouring the hot water on top of the coffee. And then we're planning to start filling out a cupping form. So the form has many different blocks, which will start from fragrance, aroma. That is the first block that we find. We need to determine if the aroma of the coffee is predominant with a good aroma or not. This will start giving grades to the coffee. You can start from 7 to 10. Depending on the score, this will affect the ending score of the coffee. So on the sheet, it does mention the scores that we can give the coffee. So it has fragrance, flavor, aroma, acidity, balance, overall score as well. And there's also defects as well. If the coffee scores more than 80 points and above, it's categorized as specialty coffee. So the main conclusion of everything that we're doing is specialty coffee mainly determines the quality of the coffee. It means that we have graded the green product raw itself. We have also analyzed by trying it, water and coffee, and we have determined that the quality of the coffee is much superior than your normal conventional commercial coffees. So specialty coffee is a very high premium coffee, high quality.
Interesting. I never knew that, that simple cup of coffee that I have has got so much that goes behind it, right?
Correct. So lots of coffee shops now. I think when I was in 2015 with my project in the roastery, we saw a lot of demand of people coming in, very curious. Can we know more about coffee? Do you have any coffee courses? We brought in a lot of people internationally that were certified with the Specialty Coffee Association to start conducting these trainings, either with green beans, barista training. There was a lot of demands by places requiring the baristas to be more certified. So even the baristas themselves became also very curious to level up their skills, their barista skills. So I think a lot of even the consumers starting to invest in education, especially the local public, which is the Emiratis here in the UAE. They also became very curious and wanted to invest also in their education. So before we couldn't even tell them much, but they started to ask more questions. What is the process of the coffee? What is the altitude? Do you know the cupping scores? So the public and also the roasteries, the cafes, they had to level up as well the service and also their products. So this is something that also helped the demand of coffee and specialty coffee as well. I think also internationally, we had people from Kuwait, we had people from Saudi, Bahrain coming in the roastery saying, "Oh, I'm hearing about your roastery. Can we try your coffee?" So I think by having this curiosity, by becoming more educated, this is what's creating this trend around coffee and specialty coffee.
Amazing, Carolina, because, we can pretty much safely say that, like even there is demand and that curiosity coming all the way from the end user point as well, right?
Yes.
So let's ask Deba what his take is on. I mean, Deba, if you could tell us a little more in terms of what is your take on the tea sector that you come across?
Sure. So obviously, we heard a lot of technical aspects. I would look at it a little bit from a consumer aspect, because we are all consumers, and also from a business aspect, because uh, as of now, one of my key responsibilities is to manage the Krispy Kreme brand. And for us, coffee is an important part of the offering that we have. Also in Americana, we run two other coffee brands. So we run Peet's Coffee in UAE and Saudi, which is slightly premium, bordering on specialty coffee. And then we also run Costa Coffee in not in GCC but outside in Kazakhstan, Jordan, and Egypt. So we have our hands in different types of coffee across markets. Uh, and in some of our other chains, for example, in Wimpy, we offer, I won't call specialty, but a different tea. So we have a range of boba teas, which is also becoming quite popular, especially among the youth now. So obviously, if I so that's the kind of context and background, and our accordingly our sourcing strategy is also different, but we'll go into that later. So what I see, and let me start with tea, since you mentioned. Uh, Obviously, coming from India, where tea is one of the has been in one of the important industries in terms of both consumption and export, and India is known for a lot of specialty teas, high-end teas, especially from Darjeeling origin and some in Assam too. So we always knew this concept of how you balance a flavor and a liquor, and what are the blends that you do. And stuff like that. But those were still regular tea with upgrading the quality or the sensory aspect. But of late, what has obviously happened is uh, as the consumption occasions have grown, and the segments that consumed have grown, you have one direction is on the specialty side, and obviously the other direction is on the convenience side. So while on the convenience side, we see all sort of ready to pre-mix, ready to do stuff, and then on the specialties, uh, we have more of the sensory aspects, etc., as well as this whole new trend towards boba tea, matcha tea. So lot of aspects of health and wellness are coming in, because tea always had that aspect, and now that's what is getting as people are becoming more conscious about in general about health and wellness. Tea is playing a very important role in that journey, and then away from other not so healthy beverages. So that wellness side of tea is this thing, and then as you know, this region, especially UAE, may not be that much Saudi, is such a cosmopolitan mix of consumers. So you have the Asians, who like your oolongs and matchas, etc. You have the Westerners; many of them are taking into many of the herbal teas. So it's a wide market, uh, uh, and growing in premium, because it is taking the wellness angle. As far as coffee is concerned, obviously uh, that's been a growing trend. I mean, I would say the tea is coming back, but the last 2 decades were belong to coffee and the expansion of coffee chain, and then slow upgrading into premium and specialty. And more relevant for both these beverages are more relevant for this region, given given the restrictions on alcoholic beverages, etc., especially in Saudi. So Saudis, if you have to go out in the evening after dinner, it's coffee, and then and then when you want a certain setting, you want a little luxury experience. When you are business and networking, you want fine products, and that is where, in terms of consumption and affordability, the move towards trying something distinct, something specialty, something which is bespoke is coming into, and hence on that, things on how you roast, how you brew, some of those experiential models. So where you are, doing in front of the customer, you're making it an engaging, engagement oriented stuff. Also, obviously, is growing. And then as in other beverages, and I don't know whether it's inspired from alcoholic beverages or not, the whole move towards single origin uh, is growing now. Now, Carolina would know how much of it is makes a difference in the taste and experience, but I think it gives a certain amount of premiumness, and uh, as with this whole move on, wanting to know what I consume, in some sense, the origins have started mattering. Okay, so and then the last trend, and if you're looking at these specialty products, obviously it is more enlightened customer base that they're looking at. Then this whole angle of what is the other impact of the product, what is the footprint that it has, the whole sustainability angle, how is the farming done, what are the practices when you're growing tea, coffee. These are some of the other aspects that are playing in shaping consumer demand and preference. So one side is the product quality technical side. The other thing is all the lifestyle and how it appeals to the emerging value space. So it's a combination of the two that is making this segment find its place and growing, especially in this region.
Very interesting, right? So in a sense, probably what we are referring to is like a fusion between that health and wellness, lifestyle change, along with the cultural elements, that's playing out in terms of, the end users becoming curious and trying out new things. Because, like you said, we also witness, a good number of exhibitors joining us, probably even last year, who had that specialty coffee, matcha tea, oolong tea, all of that we see, like as far as from Kenya, China, Mexico, Brazil, some of these producing countries, right? So interesting. So I think, next we have got, a couple of questions that I think people want to know is also about, in and around that brand building and marketing strategies, right? Because I understand that, probably both of you, like a combination, you have got a dearth of knowledge in terms of like, from startups to corporates to, you have been handling and building brands, right? So probably the first question I have in that area of brand building and marketing is, in a competitive market like the Middle East, what are the essential steps for creating a unique and compelling brand identity for a tea or coffee company? And how can this how can this identity be effectively communicated to consumers? So basically the question is around, yes, like what Carolina said, you've been an early bird in this market, but of course there are many players. So if anybody want to get into this market, so what's the best strategy? What's the best way to go about building their brand?
I think the best way, it starts with a clarity and the purpose to why you're actually having the brand. So you need to know your mission, and you need to know your audience, and the story that you're going to be telling your audience. Because I think once you are able to communicate to the customers the story in your mission, once they understand, they will want to come and support your brand. Because in a market that's oversaturated at the moment, people want to support brands that they identify with, brands that they see, they want to help, they want to support sustainability, they want to support traceability. Every time I buy a cup, 1 kilo of coffee, this will help the farmer. Or they also they also involve and they make their own community. They want to feel part of the brand, is what also will help the customers feel more attached to the brand. I think a strong brand identity goes a long way. It's mainly in the tone, it's mainly in the visuals and the experience. And even if they decide to go into B2B, supplying other cafes, it's even included in the barista training. It's the way that you conduct the training, the way that you make the baristas feel, and like the story that you give them when you talk about the brand. I think in the Middle East, giving that personal touch, the storytelling, and making sure that it's consistent. And also, I think social media as well, if you communicate in the best way in social media, and also you are aligned with the marketing as well, to communicate to your customers more about your brand, this is something that will help definitely create a unique and compelling brand identity.
Brilliant. So it's basically the human side of the brand, right? That human connect, so to
Correct.
speak.
Yes.
How about you, Deba? What's it that you have seen? Because I know you've been even currently also working and taking care of some of those leading big brands as well at Americana, right?
So there are two things, two kinds of, obviously there are two sectors. One are the roasters who are probably bigger into the B2B thing, and then there are the coffee outlet, the retail part of it. And while Carolina touched on the roasters part of it, which is one segment. As far as retail is concerned, given the premium nature of of GCC and especially UAE, Saudi, Kuwait, this kind of the income levels are high, people, the alternate beverages are restricted, so this is space. So we are seeing entry of obviously first the premium coffee, and then that will who are having some specialty offerings, and then we may see entry of specialty players. So that is as far as the global players are concerned. Then, especially in Saudi, there is this big move, there's the cultural connect, and there is pride in local brands, Saudi made. This is a huge thing in Saudi. So we see roasteries being set up here, and there's a huge pride in Saudi owned, Saudi made, and some of those chains with that kind of positioning have entered the market and doing pretty well. So they see this as a national identity and cultural connect. So this is big because coffee has always, as we knew, out of home coffee or even at home, it's about lot about socializing, not just about the beverage. It's about the occasion. It's about the connect, and hence, especially in Saudi, this whole cultural connect Saudi because the locals make a big part of the population, unlike UAE and other parts of GCC, is a big thing. Whereas in UAE, probably the whole thing of international brand, what is globally best, that's what appeals more. So I think there are these two streams that are working, and those are the kind of players who are coming in and slowly expanding their presence. I see also on tea, especially some Chinese brands entering who are specialists in sort of Chinese Korean brands on boba tea, and I also saw a brand in Saudi who serves this mix of tea and coffee. And I was then talking to a colleague from Hong Kong, and they said that that's how we drink our beverage there. It's tea and a coffee mix. So for somebody from India or I don't know from this region, it would there are two alternatives. Either you have tea, you ask tea or coffee. So there are different trends. Yeah. So I think it is a mix of belonging, cultural identity, as well as a premium lifestyle experience, which is equally driving as much as the product itself.
That's some interesting news, right? I know for sure, like you mentioned about, like that made in that particular country, whether it is made in Saudi or make it in the Emirates, those kind of campaigns that are underway. And at the same time, we also know that, I mean, of course, in, probably last, 3 to 4 years, Dubai has also become a re-export hub when it especially comes to, thanks to DMCC and other initiatives, that started off with tea, and then of course we are also re-exporting large amount of coffee as well, right? So like if these exporters want to get into this market, and how big is probably, like, if you were to quantify that regional market versus that re-export market, Deba?
Kalina, you go first.
No, you can take this one.
Yeah, no. So I do not have. So we obviously deal with a couple of bigger players who do our blends for Krispy Kreme and Costa, and for Pete's obviously it's a proprietary blend and roast that comes directly, air freighted from US. So that's a very different thing, and though they have very strict standards of origins and labor practices in those gardens and full traceability. And we work with big players like Intellect and Coffee Planet and people like that in this market. So that's where it is. But I would imagine UAE always has been a hub of import, export, and there's an opportunity to enhance uh, for blending and roasting also, because you have one side the sources from Africa, the other side Asia. This is somewhere in between, and hence those opportunities may be there. But specifically, we do not kind of we're not into that segment, so my information there would be limited. But whatever I see in the trade events, the presence seem to be significant. So I suppose, yeah, uh, both in terms of input markets as well as then feeding into some of the consumption market. Obviously, the volumes may be more in the mass products, but I'm sure on the specialty side also things are growing. Yeah.
I think I will throw, like probably I will tie this into probably what we have as a next question. So I've got, people of course would want to know about, what are the opportunities and whether it is for partnerships or, launching themselves into it, So on a B2B sector, like if somebody wants to get into these markets, what would be what do you recommend as a first step in terms of, because I would take a step back and probably ask the question as in terms of, are there any specific country of origin that is a favorite here, or usually like both of you in your work or sourcing life, are you open to new countries, trying out something new? Is there a pattern, or how does that sound like?
I think there's different sectors. I feel like when it comes to, it depends in which sector you're looking for. With coffee, I think Deba was basically categorizing with retail and B2B. It's a bit different, the approach I work for. Mainly with B2B is where my heaviest weight lies. Retail, I've done a little bit of it, so I have a bit of experience with that. They're completely different. I feel like if someone is looking to enter in a B2B sector, whether it's either a new roastery or a new product like green beans or something like that they're planning to distribute, is definitely have investment behind them and a clear vision and knowing their audience well and knowing who the key players are. So they know, why are these people standing out in the market? Is this something I need to ask in for, do a proper research before coming? Because it seems that, yes, UAE, we are spoiled with many options. So it has become a very oversaturated market at the moment, but I feel that the right concept always has opportunities, obviously, to become a big player in the market. As long as the concept is clear and the mission is there, it's basically relying in your investment in products and your investment with marketing to keep exposing your products, to do events like pop-ups, tastings, maybe involving influencers, maybe doing some barista competitions, some collaborations with other brands. So your brand is also exposed. So if you're also a B2B, maybe by collaborating with another brand, that could also help your brand as well get some exposure. I think Deba maybe has more insights when it comes to the retail side. But it's definitely from the B2B side, I would feel that there is a lot of research that has to be done before coming in the market, understanding that this market is different than other markets. But we are very curious always when there's a new cafe or a roastery, you will feel curiosity. We will go, we will taste, we will give them, a new cafe open in town. I want to see what is it about, who are the owners, what products do they have? Do they have food on the menu when it comes to like retails, or you buy that product? For sure, you're gonna buy it. So I think after they taste the quality, for them, again, the storyline is very important. Price point also very important. So if you have that small lack, and you improve and make better, there's definitely a way that in a space as well for you in this market.
Thank you, Carolina. How about you, Deba?
I think she touched upon very important aspects, because this is uh, in any specialty product, the quality needs to be experienced. So one is what you claims, one are your claims, other is the experience of the product, and hence the stuff like pop-ups and how do you do that to expose more people to it. It is even relevant for the retail players. How do they reach out? And in Saudi, we see every time and Saudi is full of new coffee chains and a lot of homegrown. There's a lot of interest for people to go check out and try out what this is about. So people are looking for that variety, because then this is something you can talk about and stuff like that. And in some sense, I can relate to it, like it happened to a few years ago on the alcoholic side, that the microbreweries came up. People were seeing the brewing there, and that kind of brought back interest just from a plain vanilla product into an experiential product, something you can talk about, something you can show your either business guests or other acquaintances. So these coffee shops with experientials are playing that role. Now, how a producer or a roaster can help retailers to create that, it could be a value add, because many of the retailers may or may not know. So that could be one else. One is the product itself, and how you are helping a retailer to bring it to life for their consumers could be an edge. And I said it will be a combination of the source product knowledge, or the technical skills. Added to that, how do you make it reach the consumers is what probably will differentiate between the players who succeed and get a bigger volume, and also that helps them to get the first hand consumer feedback, because one is in the lab, the taster decides, but finally it has to, yes, this is not of mass appeal, but you still have to have enough segment to sustain the demand and the premium pricing that makes this business worthwhile. So I think that's where the connect is, those partnership of retailers or with the brewers, or so-called, I won't call them wholesalers. It's a very fine business. It's not a mass business. So that would matter. That would matter. And you throw in some cultural context into it, it works. So even we have some Saudi origin coffee in the black coffee segment, and again, nothing premium, but it touches them, and that's what they want to have, and stuff like that. Because not all consumers finally understand. It's a bit like perfume, like it's a bit like a thing. So it is a lot of the value is derived from the connotations you are able to give by appealing to the stuff that they value, and then bring the cultural context. So then the whole experience become premium. So it is always not just about the product, but product plus delivery, and those who do it will succeed more.
Right. I think, I can very well connect to what both of you have just said, because this is exactly what we see as well. You can imagine we have got, so many of these exporters coming in, and, that's when we changed also like our strategy or our reach from a 3-day export to a 365-day export promotion, because end of the day, all what you said just now cannot be achieved in just 3 days time, or a 4-day time when you go and attend an expo. Because that's when, we try to engage the audience, the local regional buyers with the product. We create that visibility in the market. And of course, when they come to the expo, we have got those experiential side events like the super kitchen that we do, wherein, like these distributors or retailers, they're able to, like what you said, Carolina, the cupping, and, they can really understand what they are trying to get into and probably discuss business, right? So I think I've got one more question within that opportunity section, which is how can businesses identify and approach potential partners for collaborations in the Middle East market, and what factors should they consider when evaluating such opportunities? So basically, the question here is, what kind of, like, is it the distributors, is it the retailers, which could be their first port of entry when an exporter try to come into this market? How do they go about it?
Deba, you want to go first?
Sure. So that typically that depends on two things. One is how concentrated the end market is, and hence your ability then be able to reach or want to go through somebody else. And other, sometimes the regulatory framework and stuff. So and in the Middle East, we know the regulations have meant in many businesses people having a local partner. The language, cultural contexts are different, and stuff like that. Having said that, though, today with media and everything, and Dubai being so cosmopolitan, those distances have crashed. So there is a scope to also reach out directly. So it's really depending on the appetite, whether somebody wants to remain a niche player, somebody wants to make it big. Are they looking at only the market here, or they're looking here plus re-export? So that will define the level of investment they do, and hence the route, whether they approach directly or they go through a consolidator or some expert who can present to them. And you see both models exist, but especially given the geographical location, many people are choosing to build a presence here, given this is not just about this market, but the whole re-export potential and the liberal trade regime, especially UAE. And when it comes to Saudi, it's what the attraction is, the big local market. So there is no straight answers. And in terms of what may appeal, the other point probably we did not cover is there are certain other where culture and product come. For example, certain flavor notes or stuff like saffron, very relevant here. Cardamom, very relevant for tea. Now, actually, cardamom doesn't help the tea; it distracts from the tea. But it is such a strong cultural and flavor connotation here. The consumer obviously is looking for something good, but it also probably scared to go too far away. So how do you balance that familiarity versus something which is probably a unique international experience for which you command a premium, are also the things one has to think about. And how do you blend this thing to be there? But as I said, this region is a trade-driven market, so obviously that's where it is, and it really depends on the ambition, the size of the ambition, which we should determine. You know, how much investment you will put in, and what kind of partnerships you do. So there is no answer, because when the consumer segment is big, you have single shops to city chains to the full country chains. Their procurement practices also would be different. Plus, you have pure beverage chains as well as the food for which beverage is one part. Their outlook could be slightly different in terms of when they're looking to, what kind of suppliers they want to partner with. So there is no straight answer to this. It really depends on what you want to do.
And totally.
I think from my side, it's insightful what Deba was saying, but I feel like if someone new is coming to the market, obviously understand how the market works, try to fill the lack in the market, try to analyze what are the empty holes and what value you can offer, and either try to offer at a competitive price. Obviously, the client, if they're used to a product, the only reasons why they would want to change a product is because it's better in quality or the price makes sense for them as well. So either you keep the same quality, offering a better price, or you provide something even better that they're not even going to question the price. But again, this is something that they need to analyze within what do they want to do. Obviously, you want to provide the customer some value. So they're obviously they want to change when they see, oh, I need to have this product because either it's something I don't have and it's providing value for me. So I am willing to change once you see the value it provides. So I feel like if you are in a niche market, customers are willing to pay a bit more the price. But if the market is competitive and you're just coming in offering the same product, your price will have to be very competitive or below price of your other competitors because there are stronger players in the market, which you're competing. So there has to be some sort of a value for the customer to want to change.
Very true that, Carolina. I know that we have got probably another 10 minutes left. So you just touched upon the price point, right? So I think that nicely brings us to the final segment, which was about market challenges and strategies for success, right? So when I look at that, probably I think the prominent question that I can see in front of me is, in the face of market challenges such as market saturation and price fluctuations, what strategies have proven effective for businesses in the Middle East tea and coffee industry to maintain growth and profitability over long term? So I know that, Carolina, you just touched upon the price element. So if you could kindly elaborate, yeah.
I feel like when it comes to what the strategies that you could possibly build in an oversaturated market, and when it comes to the price fluctuation, is diversifying your product. So whether it's easy to drink coffee, or you want to create a cold brew brand, or you want to go into a private label, or everything is controlling your operational costs and building as well, maybe some direct trade relationships to get to offer the public a better price. Because normally the market, it's very competitive. So there's always going to be people, he's giving you a 10. Okay, I'll give you a 8.5. A little bit to what I touched before. The more demand, if you're in the same category and it's something, the same product that you're offering, and if there's many players doing the same thing, it's going to be very competitive when it comes to price. So either you need to go directly to your source, and you need to plan ahead, have a very good investment, go to the direct trade, cut the middleman, negotiate with the producer, say, I'm willing to support you. I want to do direct trade. Let's do things in a good way. I want to pay you a fair price. And then there's a relationship between your product, and then you can negotiate and offer a better price to your customers with more value, saying that it is a direct trade coffee. So these are maybe some of the strategies that I would say, maybe diversifying. If you're doing coffee, maybe think about doing different kinds of products and something niche, something that still is not being done. Something that you feel that now with a lot of Gen Z and newer generations, they want something convenient. They want something easy. There's even liquid coffee ready. There's capsules. There's frozen coffee that you just dilute in hot water. So there's capsules is also like something that we're thinking. It's still something people want, something convenient. So I feel like if you are looking with that, I feel like this would be kind of like the approach that I would recommend.
Brilliant. I think that was almost like a market entry 101. Deba, what is it that, I mean, I'm sure like, you might have many case studies that is running through your head in terms of, in a situation like this, what someone would have done or you would have done. So would you want to share some of your experience in this regard?
So two, three things. One is we are still into the mass category. So and this is at the end of the day, uh, tea and coffee is commodity. The specialties are little less commodity than the others.
Yeah.
So obviously they are subject to the cycles, and not just demand supply. The supply gets affected by climate. So the whole thing accentuates. So we obviously believe in slightly mid to longer term contracts and stable supply basis, because we being retail brands, we need to maintain price stability, so we need cost stability. So that is our approach. Now, the issue for mass players is slightly easy because both these are actually blended products. So depending on the origin, you can always blend differently to achieve a certain target cost. But as you move towards more specialty, some of that flexibility goes away. That is the issue. And that's where probably science can come in more. How do you produce the desired flavor profile with different input products? So that would help obviously them to manage out this demand supply commodity cycles, which can move little differently for different origins depending on the local climatic issues and demand supply. So that's one. For us, it is blended, so we are able to manage change origins and blend. But for others, it's an issue. The second is that as you move towards more premium, your input cost would matter less. It's really what value you can show to the end user. If you can show that this helps them get a greater market share, establish themselves as a more premium brand, that's what they're looking at beyond the product. And number three, what Carolina touched is it is a bit of a dichotomy, but people are today looking for both premiumness and convenience married, because people who can afford premium probably in some cases don't have time, or there are accessibility issues. So they want it. So hence this whole rise of capsules and other more convenient forms of consumption. And even in that, there is a segment which is looking for a more refined taste and stuff like that, and the whole the lifestyle thing. So that's another opportunity. Can in terms of technology, of brewing technology, or whichever way, product preservation technology, you can do something which then increases your appeal, and it helps you ride a bit of the cycles, because even in retail, uh, in terms of growth, there is extra retail spending. When the cycle slows down a bit, then the out of home goes down, in home increases. So if you have your feet in both, that helps you to kind of balance the demand of the two, which in case of these kind of products will need little more science and technology to be able to deliver that, at least the taste aspect of it. So these would be the various factors that.
Amazing. I know that all this while probably we have been discussing more about the product itself, like. So I just wanted to ask you one question, which is about the sourcing country of origin, right? So have you lately seen any kind of a trend in terms of there is affinity or interest towards a particular region or a country, especially in this region?
So
Yes.
quickly, yeah, sorry, yeah, Karina, please go.
No, go ahead.
No, so I have less information. So quickly, so obviously for coffee it is either Latin American or African, but the more the mass in this segment, people want out of the, so Brazil doesn't cut. Guatemala cuts more than Brazil. So this is what is happening. People think that smaller the country, it is more exotic and stuff like that. Or you distinguish with estate. So like in for tea in India, in Darjeeling region, they brand the estate to show that the origin and the practices there. So obviously, in terms of the tea and health tea, Japan is big. The whole matcha and other stuff, because it's seen as more conscious in terms of quality and everything. Sri Lanka has always dominated because of the sheer quality. Darjeeling I mentioned. So those are more on the little premium and specialty tea, and we're anyways not talking of the mass segment, so I'm not talking of the other origin. So this is what we've seen. The more smaller or exotic the places, the people have that fascination. So less known sounds little premium phenomenon is also there in this segment. That's what I've seen.
I think the local market, I feel if we're talking in the MENA region, there, again, as Deba mentioned, South American coffees and African coffees are key. When we talk about South American coffees, Brazil is always a main interest coffee, mainly because the tasting notes, low acidity, easy to drink. When it blends with milk, it blends in a very good way, has a very good taste. Colombia is also a coffee of demand in South America. Supremo is mainly like but this is mainly what the market is used to. Colombia is mainly here in the region is a bit more like, yes, it has less acidity compared to African coffees, but it is a bit more fruity. It does have some fruity notes compared to Ethiopia. African coffees as well is a very high demand, Ethiopia. I think for the local market, Arabic coffee is a big it's one of the also fast moving coffees that they like for Arabic coffee, as well for specialty coffee. When it comes to specialty coffee, the best sellers are Brazil, Ethiopia, and Colombia. Those are the best sellers as well. Commercial wise, I feel like there is a big interest with Colombia, Ethiopia, and Robustas. Robustas is also obviously a big demand now in the market. India, Robusta, Vietnamese. So for good Robustas are also very good for blends. It's good to have a blend with Arabica and Robusta. I think especially to make a good mix between acidity, giving it a bit more body. So obviously, I think this is something that Indian coffees are also in good demand. I think mainly these coffees are the high demand here in the region.
Perfect. I'm sure all those attendees from these different countries that you mentioned, they're taking a note of it. So, so I know that probably we are just in time. So before we wind up, I wanted to ask you to give, kind of your final word, what that would be to those exporters or newcomers who really want to get into this market and thrive. So what would be your that one word of advice?
Deba, you want to take this one first?
Okay, no. So the only thing we did not cover here is that the regulatory thing and everything is halal here. So that process, that certification is important, and that is where and one may choose to be regulatory compliant here, and then where the regulations not the same, product can go, or you can do differently. So that is another angle when we're talking of MENA region, always has to be always there as a requirement. Basically what I will say is you're playing on two things. One is higher income levels here, alternative beverage, alcoholic beverage, whatever restriction opens up the opportunity. You pair that with wanting to be know what people across the world taste, and because many people in the segment here travel a lot. People travel to Europe, especially a lot in US, so they're all picking up the preferences that are happening there, and they want that here. Okay, so this is a big thing. So you can, whatever is the global range, if you can bring that here and make it accessible, that's really and especially UAE, they want always the newest, latest. That's how they want to. That's what the country where the country wants to build, and that's how the people are doing it. So I think that could be the differentiator. So that's what I'll say.
Thank you,
I
Deba.
think just as a conclusion, I think if you want to make a good entry here in the UAE is basically spend some time either in the regions that you're planning to invest and have your business. To make sure you do your market research, Maybe compare a few businesses that are similar structured to what you're looking to have. Second is analyze the price point as well, whether it's going to be a competitive versus the quality that you're offering, because we are very also spoiled when it comes to very high quality. So check the prices, make sure the quality is there, and also see if there's something that you can offer the market that will have value, which will also help your customers want to become curious and want to explore that option with you. And make sure as well if it's something that you can provide which is more convenient, you want to diversify a few products, this is also something that can help. And also try to make sure that there's a very good marketing plan, something for the market to also get to know who is that brand who's coming in. Think about doing some partnerships with other companies that could potentially hold that you're doing the same thing. This is also something that could help as well.
I'll just add one thing, and this is especially true for markets, non-UAE markets, is the lack of very trained baristas or people, so high-skilled people. So if the product is in a way which doesn't need sophisticated human intervention to get that quality, that's an edge. If you can through tech, through the machine, through the product, make it easier to dispense or to serve, there is a value that the retailer will give you, because for them getting people, training, retaining is a big challenge. Little less in UAE, but in Saudi, Kuwait, and others, a huge challenge. So that's another angle. That's there.
Very valid point, Deba. Carolina, Deba, it was wonderful to have you all share your thoughts, insights, knowledge with all of us today. I would like to thank our attendees, because for many of them, some of them are early in the morning and some of them are late evening. For all our attendees for tuning in today to be part of this discussion. I think to sum up today's discussion, I would say like expanding urbanization, higher living standards, adoption of regional cultural values are contributing to the growth of the coffee and coffee market, while the interest in green, herbal, botanical, that kind of teas keep the market going strong. Of course, both industries, we have, from what you said and what we experience, are benefiting from the business-friendly environment, which is one of the key elements, and near to zero entry barriers, so to speak, with the world that we are living in at the moment. From consumer trends to new market opportunities, the Middle East Tea and Coffee Expo will bring together, we continue bringing together, global tea and coffee producers, suppliers, buyers, governments, even like policymakers and other industry stakeholders. So to all of you, the attendees, and probably listening to us afterwards, please join us from 17 to 19 November this year at the Dubai World Trade Center. So if at all you want to know more about the event, or if you have got any questions, please write to us on info@organicandnatural.com. So once again, thank you very much, Carolina and Deba. And thank you all the attendees. It was lovely. And probably until then, so we'll have another session with another topic probably in 2 weeks' time. So until then, thank you, and have a lovely day, evening ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Shin. Thank you.